This is 6.6 day 2, but there's another example that I need to do with the honors algebra 2. We do problems like this in college algebra, and so what we need to do today is solve radical equation, or solve one equation with two radicals. So it would start out looking like this. I have one radical here, and then on the other side of the equal sign I have another radical. Okay, so this one you can't isolate in this case because there's a radical on both sides. So what we're going to do is go straight to squaring both sides, and we'll get rid of one of the radicals this way. Okay? Alright, so I square both sides, then on this side I get rid of the radical. Now this side is kind of complicated, so I'm going to work this out over here. If I have, and I'm going to square it, I need another one just like it. Okay, I'm going to multiply this out with the distributive property because it's kind of tricky. So when I multiply these two radicals together, the radical goes away and I just get x plus 6. Then I'm going to multiply this radical by 2, so I'd have this expression. Then I'd have another one like that, since I'm going to multiply by the 2 now. And then I would have 2 times 2, which is 4. Okay, so now I'm going to combine like terms. I've got my x, and then I have 6 plus 4, which is 10. And then I have 2 of these, so I can add those together and get 4. Okay, so now that's what this will equal right here. So I'm going to put this over here. Okay, so now we still have a radical in our equation, but I'm just going to isolate it and go through our steps again. So I'm going to subtract over the x, and I'm going to subtract over the 10. Okay, now that would leave 4 times the square root of x plus 6 on this side, and then that goes to 0, and I would get negative 4x here. So I need to go back to my techniques and isolate the radical. So divide both sides by 4. And that would just give you negative x, or negative 1x. When I divide that, that's just the number 1. Alright, square both sides. I get rid of my radical. And negative x times negative x would just give me x squared. Alright, now I'm going to get a trinomial. I got to set this equal to 0, so I move both of these over. Trinomial set equal to 0, so I need to do my multiply to be, add to be. In this case, I get negative 3 and positive 2. They both multiply to be negative 6 and add to be negative 1. Okay. 2 possible solutions for x. X equals 3 and x equals negative 2. So now I'm going to go through the process going back to my original equation. Let me just write it again so we can look at it here. This was my original equation, and I'm going to check. I know it's tedious, but you need to do it because one of them won't be a solution possibly. So if I plug in 3 for x, and I plug in 3 for x over here, square root of 9 plus 2, does that equal the square root of 1? Because this would be 10 minus 9. So 3 plus 2 does not equal 1. Alright, so this equation of x equals 3 is not a solution. Alright, so now let's check the other one, negative 2. So plug it in for both x's. Okay, so that would give me the square root of 4 plus 2. And that would give me, this would be 10 plus 6 would be 16. So I'd have 2 plus 2 equals the square root of 16, which is 4, so this one does work. So this is a solution. So you'll have some in your homework that have 2 radicals. So you're going to basically have to go through the process of squaring both sides twice. So you'll need to look back at this example, and there's probably some more in your book too.